I know you're like, what is the crazy lady doing? So I have to show you something. All right. Now, I got my mask on. Okay. So I know that I told you guys the other day that I found this really cool makeup that I just had to try. And I was totally like, I don't want to say sold on it, whatever. Honestly, it's just because when you get in a spot where you're really super balanced, things just come to you or happen for you or whatever, and you don't even have to like think about it. Candace, I couldn't help myself. I made another comment on her thing. Oh, anyways, stuff just happens. So when I ran across this, I was like, right time, right place, right now, do it. And so I signed up to sell this. And I promise you that I won't bombard my page with it because that's not my intention. But I do have to show you because this is really freaking cool. Okay. So here's the gist of it. All right. I am a huge eyeshadow freak. And so I have more eyeshadow palettes than, I don't even know what to compare that to, but a lot. I love eyeshadow. I have very expressive eyes and I love to play with eyeshadow. So I ran across this company and I decided to buy some eyeshadows, and they have this really cool line of foundations. And so I thought, I'm going to know right away if it's a company for me based off of their eyeshadows, because that's what I would say. Like, that's where my like kind of forte is there. As far as like foundations go, I probably have like 17 different kinds, and I don't even know how I decide which one to use. They're all completely different. And honestly, because of masks, right? It's like you can't even put any on anyways, because your mask is just going to rub it all off and you're going to look like a weirdo later. So anyway, I played with the eyeshadows, and now I've used a few different colors, because sometimes when you get an eyeshadow palette, there'll be like a couple of them that work really well, and then the rest of them suck. So number one, when I use eyeshadow, I am looking for the fallout. That means when you put it on, how much of it is falling out all over the place. Second is the pigment. I want it to have really great pigment. That means, right, I put my brush in it, I put it on, and I can see it right away. I don't have to sit there for like an hour and try to make it look deep enough that you can see it. So pigment, fallout, I've tried this with a few colors. This stuff is like crazy amazing. Hardly any fallout at all. The pigment, I've been eating almonds. That's great. The pigment is fantastic. I'm super sold by it. So then I live really close by where the company is at, relatively speaking. So it only takes me a day to get my product, which is really cool too. So then I bought a kit, right? And then it comes with a bunch of stuff. And I didn't dare dive into the like foundation part of it because it was scaring me. So I watched a few YouTube videos and I was like, okay, I think I can figure this out. Now, the thing of it is, it's not like when you're looking at normal foundation and you just kind of can tell and you put it on your wrist and okay, that looks pretty close. This stuff goes on a little differently. Hello, Lisa. This stuff goes on different. So I watched a bunch of videos and then I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And I put some on this morning and I was like, ooh, I don't think I used the right color. It didn't look horrifying, but it was a little too much yellow undertones. So then I decided to play with it again tonight. So I took everything off and then I started over. The one thing that I super love is the magnet. So when you need a new color, you just pop these suckers out and put new ones in. And they have this for the eyeshadows as well, which I love because when I use eyeshadows, sometimes there's colors that I use a lot of and that one goes faster and then I don't have to throw my whole thing away, right? Okay. So here's the ultimate test. And this is why I decided to go live, probably because I can't believe it myself, really. So in my little palette, I just have 3 colors. And this is actually what I'm wearing right now, which looks nothing like what you see in here, right? So this is my highlighter. This is my all over color. This is my cheek color. And this is my contour color. But anywho, I put this stuff on And then I was like, okay, here's the true test. So the way this stuff works is you put it on with these like really nice brushes, and basically you dab it and swirl it the right color. You can't actually. So it's really cool because it gives you this beautiful complexion. I didn't realize how much uneven tone I had until I took a picture of my face without anything on. And then I took a picture of my face with this on, and I was like, whoa. And there's actually one color that I don't have in here that I used to put on some spots that were a little more red, and it just blends in beautifully. And then if you're like, ooh, it looks maybe a little heavy, you just use this little dabber, and like I still am like looking, it just looks so good. Use a little dabber and you take off any extra. Now here's where I was sold. I was like, okay, you know, super cool. But I'm thinking to myself, this is cream. This is a cream. And any of my other creams that I use, guess what happens when I put a mask on, right? My mask is completely saturated with my makeup. It looks absolutely disgusting. I can start to see every spot on my face where it's worn off, and then it just looks completely stupid, honestly. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a mask on, and I'm gonna run around the house with a mask on, and I'm gonna see how much of this transfers onto the mask, because there's no way, right? I'm like, it's cream. It's going to come off. It's going to look stupid. Because I have another one that I got not too long ago because I thought it looked great. It was like, I don't remember the company. I bought it at Ulta. But I haven't been able to find any foundations. Hello, Kathy. I haven't been able to find any foundations that don't transfer off, that don't also look like a freaking cakey mess, right? Or they're like really gross. So, I put the mask on, right? So I put the mask on, I ran around the house, I patted it into my face, I squished the nose piece down, I made some taco meat. My kids are like, you're a freaking idiot. And then I was like, okay, because I felt like I needed to breathe into it. I needed to get it a little wet. Okay. Now, if I had done this with my regular product, it would be absolutely covered. Look at this. It's absolutely freaking white. There is nothing on it. There is nothing that is transferred from my makeup onto this mask. Zero, zilch, nada. And I have quite a bit on, probably more than you can even tell, just because I was messing around with it. And my lighting in here really washes my face out a lot. So, I mean, it's not like I don't really have any on. I really do. And I'm like, seriously, rubbing it like nothing. It's nothing. I'm sold. But in the same time, I'm like, where was this stuff a year ago? How did I just barely not? I don't even know. How did I even find this stuff? Because, you know, millions of people are selling makeup online. Let's be serious. Happened to be this super cute lady that I follow on Instagram that had a baby that passed away. So I probably pay attention to her a little more than other people. So she had posted that she did her makeup, and I was like, man, it just looks so pretty. Like, it looks different. Like, it looks so different pretty. And then I started looking at it. So this company used to be called Mascara Beauty, which I have heard about, and I never looked into it. I didn't probably realize that they had cream foundations, and now they're called Saint. They changed their name. Same thing, different name. I'm absolutely freaking blown away. This stuff is also, because I don't have time to sit down and spend like 2 hours on my makeup every day. Honestly, it takes me less than an hour, start to finish, from when I wake up to when I leave for work. That includes my showering. That includes everything that I'm doing. So I'm not about to sit down and spend a hellacious amount of time getting ready in the morning, because I just can't. So that was the other thing, is, and probably why I was a little hesitant to use it, because I was like looking at other people's faces, and you know, they're all like contoured and down the nose, and literally it's so simple. The stuff blends so well. It looks like chocolate, but you basically just put it a little under here, a little on your cheek, and then you just buff it in, and it's crazy. But anyway, it takes like, I don't even know, 5 minutes to do your entire face. Like, it's insane. I could do my entire makeup even with this stuff in like, I would say 10 to 15 minutes. That's everything, like my mascara, my eyeshadow, the whole shebang, my eyebrows. And you just don't even need anything. Like you can do your whole face with this little tiny palette and a brush. Powder, you don't even need powder. I'm blown away. So I had to come on. I'm blown away. But also I want to share something really cool with you. So I was working on a client today and we were doing some things and I ran across something and I thought, man, this is just so amazing. I want to share it. So there are these crazy things that I found that I'm trying to actually find them. They are a parasite that this client of mine had. That was I can't remember what it was called, intestinal flukes. So not sometimes, everybody has them. When your ancestors get sick, some of the energy from the sickness doesn't always go completely away. If they're out of balance when they get sick, it can get trapped in the DNA, okay? The reason this becomes a problem is because you can have the symptoms from the same issue, but you will never be able to be tested positive for it. So this one, for example, my client actually was having some digestion issues. She had intestinal flukes from, I don't remember how many generations ago, but so somebody has intestinal flukes, which are a worm, a type of a parasitic, like wormy thing. Okay. And I mean, you're carrying around in your DNA, passing this on to your kids. And then you're like, I have these severe digestion problems. Nobody can treat it. I can't figure out what's wrong with it. I'm getting tested. I'm getting my blood drawn and no one can find anything. And usually when a client comes and tells me that's what's going on, I'm like, I'm going to guess that you probably have an ancestral miasm, which is a sickness energy that is showing the symptoms, but you're not going to be tested for it. And it's just a release of that energy from the DNA, which is really super cool because of the law of energy and how this works. We release it not only from you, but we do what's called past, present, future. So we're going to release it from everyone in the past. So however many generations have it, we're going to release it from present, which is you, and then we're going to release it from future. By the way, Kim, did you hear the great news? My son is trying to hook up with your daughter. I hope that's okay. So if he watches this, he'll probably, not be happy with me, but it is what it is. I'm not really sure how all this came about. He just started talking about her and I'm like, well, I might have some connections. So, I mean, okay, there we go. All right, guys. So I hope you're having a beautiful day. We had a crazy day. I actually had someone bring over some posters. Dave and I were sponsoring something and the cutest little girl, my friend Mandy and John's daughter was like, I think your horse is stuck in the fence. And I'm like, okay. She's like, she's laying really close to it. Well, horses lay really close to fences. So I was like, okay. And then I got a text and they're like, no, I think she really is. So we have the stupidest horse fences that are just they shouldn't even be horse fences. They just happened to be here when we moved in. And they just They just happen to be here when we moved in. And so, that's something we need to replace. But I look out there and she literally has both of her hind legs are stuck in one of the grids in this panel and she cannot get up. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, no, 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 no. Because when a large animal like this gets stuck in something, if they freak out, they can easily hurt themselves to the point where they break a leg or they just lacerate themselves because they just thrash. They go completely crazy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want her to freak out. The other thing that can happen too is she could easily pull the panel off of the railroad ties that they're on and then get it stuck on herself even more and then try to take off running and fall. And I mean, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this could be a bloodbath. And so she was laying really quiet. Of course, just because of what I do, I was like, okay, connecting with the horse's energy, because this works beautifully on animals too, so that I could keep her calm. And I just kept talking to her and she laid really still. And then I called Dave to come home and help me get her out. And she ended up being able to get herself out of there enough and stand up. And I was like, please, please let her back legs be okay. And she actually started to walk, and I could tell that they were fine. But I think is what had happened is she had laid there for so long with her feet kind of elevated that she just lost the blood flow. So she seems to be walking fine, and she seems to be okay now. Could you all just slam the door a couple more times? She seems to be fine now. So, but that's how my day is gone. But pretty crazy. I don't know. I had to jump on and share some things with you. So I've just had a great day as far as releasing beautiful things from people. I'm baffled by this because I'm like, oh, and it looks so like just beautifully natural. It's not coming off on this. So the other question would be, right? Does it feel weird? It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's crazy. I'm so crazily sold by it. Anyways, okay, guys, I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I will be doing Monday Soul Deliciousness on Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So unless something crazy happens tomorrow and I decide to hop back on here, otherwise I will see you actually Monday morning first and then Monday evening again. All right, guys, love you. Have a beautiful night. Bye.